Again, I will introduce myself. I'm Poncelet with my co-resource person for the West African Internet Governance from the Gambian chapter, Hadija Jawara, which to welcome you to the seventh Internet Governance Forum taking place in the Gambia, our national forum, on behalf of the steering committee, on behalf of the Ministry of Information, Communication and Infrastructure, which hosts the Secretariat, on behalf of our Honorable Minister and all stakeholders. We welcome you to this seventh edition. And please bear with us for starting late, and apology to our Honorable Minister who has been here for over 1 hour. So without much ado, I will allow our Chair Adama Jallow to give the opening remarks, then our Honorable Minister will open the ceremony, and then we'll go for breakfast. Over to you, Adama.
Thank you, Pons. I'll just reiterate Pons's apologies for the late start. It was beyond our control, but here we are. So, good morning, everyone. Honorable Minister of Ministry of Information and Communication Infrastructure, UNDP Resident Rep, World Bank Directors, Executive Coordinators representing different stakeholder groups, fellow committee members, distinguished participants, both on-site and virtual, all protocols duly observed. Welcome to the 7th Gambia National IGF. It is my pleasure to speak on behalf of the National IGF Steering Committee. We are honored to have you all here today, bringing in new ideas for the future of the Internet. Thank you all very much for coming. This year's forum is themed Digital Inclusion Access for a Resilient Gambia, which is in line with this year's West African IGF main theme, digital inclusion and access to a resilient West Africa. Before we proceed further with the opening, I would like us to take a minute of silence to honor the departed souls, our brothers, colleagues, and immeasurable contributors to the African and West African IGF respectively for their services, guidance, and shared experiences with the IGF and the ICT community as a whole. Our dear brother, the former director of ICT, Mr. Ebrima, and former chair to the West African IGF, Mr. Makan Pai. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant them all, with all the departed soul, Jannah as their final award. We'll just take 1 minute of silence. We can now proceed. Internet governance is the development and application of governments, the private sector, the civil society in their respective roles of shared principles, norms, rules, decision-making procedures, and programs that shape the evolution and the use of the Internet. Based on the concept of Internet governance, it is noteworthy that our goal as a National IGF Steering Committee is to work with all stakeholders to influence the government's ICT policies to see Internet governance fully entrenched in all our sectors of the Gambian economy at all levels in various regions of the country. Today's program is aimed at discussing the urgent need for our recommendation to implement policies that ensure inclusion, accessibility to the Internet in this dear time of the pandemic as a resilient Gambia, where the Internet provides a crucial link to information, particularly in the area of health and digital economic advancement, sustainable growth at all levels. The Gambia, various stakeholders have taken measures on how to continue its socio-economic thrives by being resilient. The Internet is part of the resilience and there is the need to take a serious action. Now, just as to give a brief background about the IGF and the National IGF over the years. The Gambia started hosting its first National IGF in 2010 through face-to-face meetings, which continued for 3 consecutive years before a 5-year hiatus. It restarted in 2018 And in 2019, it successfully hosted the West African IGF for the first time. And last year, the National Gambia IGF was hosted virtually also successfully for the first time. In a nutshell, these are positive strides which were made towards fostering an environment in which internet contributes positively to achieving the sustainable development goals in the country from key recommendations and policy adoptions, of course, with the support of the Ministry of Information and Communication Infrastructure. However, challenges still exist as we are gradually developing and slowly gaining the required infrastructure to join the global trend in digital advancement and inclusion. But also, in reality, the success clearly showcases the persistent digital divide that exists despite the efforts being made to cope with this issue. This internet interface is, of course, entirely reliant on the infrastructure, the service layers, the extent, and the quality of this depends on effectively regulated competitive markets. We want to help revitalize the shape the global exchange about values and rules on the internet. It is, after all, becoming more and more important for all of us to join together to discuss how we want to shape and use the internet for the future. When I say all of us, I mean policymakers, civil society, private sector, the academia, and the government. As the technical committee, academia, to name a few, all of us also means that all multi-stakeholders need to work together. That is the principle underlying multi-stakeholderism. The principle on which the IGF is built and precisely what makes the IGF so valuable. And that is also the basis from which we must steer new technology developments. This shared internet infrastructure has become a cornerstone of global economy. It is of vital importance for sustainable development, innovations, not just for the Gambia and West Africa, but globally. Thousands of Gambians can make their views and ideas known on the internet. They can communicate, exchange information, compare experiences. The internet has become a home to democratic debate and political opinion forming, either for the good or for not so good. In which case, it affects everyone, even people with no access to it. And so we have to improve internet inclusion, access, and equal participation in digital transformation. The question of inclusion and accessibility being the main focus area this year, which we will be discussing intensively over these 2 days. Only by empowering citizens, to be specific, young people and marginalized population, will we create an information society which truly enables growth, inclusive growth, to be more specific, the development of skilled and engaged young people who can create local online content and e-services is essential. To make recommendations for policy makers to support digital-related policies, issue, and multi-stakeholder approach, innovation, and entrepreneurship. The final communique that comes out of the National IGF will be shared with partners and the public at large. Your inputs during these sessions are vital in developing the communique and relying the voice of the Gambian populace on these issues. The Internet Forum ecosystem is equally shared to multi-stakeholder platform in the Gambia. On this note, your contributions in action and work are essential. Let us therefore discuss key issues affecting us around accessibility and cost, building a digital economy, the Gambia and the NDP. Where are we in terms of data protection, privacy in the Gambia, connecting the unconnected, collaboration and community networks? Having in mind that the objective is to see how best the Gambia can achieve digital inclusion for all irrespective of where they live, which will lead to discussions on how best to mitigate and solve access, connectivity issues regarding heading into the post-COVID-19 scenario, and put the Gambia in a state of preparedness for future pandemics where digital economy, digital inclusion, and access are critical moving forward. And finally, I would like to take the opportunity to acknowledge and appreciate our key partners that have immensely supported and contributed to the organizing and hosting of this year's National IGF within a short notice. On behalf of the steering committee and the organizing committee, we would like to appreciate the following. To the Ministry of Information and Communication Infrastructure for their immeasurable support in serving as a secretariat for the Gambia National IGF in all capacities, and for funding a large part of the logistic cost to the PS, the director, the principal ICT officer, and the deputy director. To the UNDP for their commitment and continued support in both expertise and financial capacities. The UNDP, as part of their accelerated program, has always shown interest and conveyed partnership to the hosting of the National IGF. The Youth Empowerment Project for their USCS financial support to host the event, and interest to facilitate the conversation on how to make internet access more affordable and reliable in the Gambia to improve the competitiveness of small businesses and the young entrepreneurs. To PIRA for their continued partnership as well, and the financial support in hosting this event. To GAMTech project of the French government for their support as they launch these new projects for the Gambia ecosystem. And to Jokkolabs annual teams, West African IGF resource persons, Gambia chapter, Mr. Poncelet and Professor Jallow for drafting out the main payments of teams still are crucial in this year, as well as the elements of logistics and preparations. Internet Society the Gambia for the technical support for providing the registration platform and Zoom platform to host the 2 days virtual meeting. And to give one project for being a civil society organization that has immensely so actively engaged in community event dialogues, discussions on current and emerging issues and policy affecting us as a country, and also acknowledge the organization's work and contributions. To the Information Technology Association, Gambia, ITAG, for being a body that envelops all the information technology different stakeholder groups in the Gambia, to which the Gambia IGF is serving as a sub-initiative. To the speakers from different stakeholder groups within the Gambia and across the globe for taking time from their busy schedules to join the meeting while contributing your valuable inputs and recommendations.
Before I welcome our Honorable Minister of Information, Communication and Infrastructure, Mr. Honorable Ebrima Sillah, I just want to acknowledge the Director of ICT from the Public Utilities and Regulatory Authority, Mr. Nicholas Gata, who is sitting next to me, and also Mr. Lam Boone, the Deputy Director of ICT, who is representing the Director of ICT from the Ministry of Information, Communication and Infrastructure. So over to our Minister now, because we have kept him here for a while to make his opening remarks, and then we get going. Honorable, please. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm told that the UNDP resident rep or a representative are also with us online. And felicitations to our and the team. The chairperson of the National IGF Committee and organizing committee members, National Resource Person of the West Africa Internet Governance Forum, the president of the IT Association of the Gambia, distinguished panelists, delegates from youth groups, ladies and gentlemen. First and foremost, please allow me to congratulate the National IGF Committee and the Ministry of Information and Communication Infrastructure as the Secretariat for organizing and successfully hosting the 7th edition of the National Internet Governance Forum under the theme Digital Inclusion and Access for a Resilient Internet in Gambia. I am indeed honored to partake in this important event as keynote speaker. This year's event is being held in a hybrid format, both in physical and virtual, due to the realities of the COVID-19 situation, which of course coincided with the emergence of the third wave of the pandemic, the deadly Delta virus. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, internet governance has continuously been evolving into a truly multi-stakeholder approach since the inception of the first Internet Governance Forum in Athens in 2006, which was established after deliberations at the World Summit on the Information Society in Tunis in 2005. Thus, given that the Internet Governance Forum is a bottom-up approach from national to the regional then global, the Gambia has been effectively participating at the regional level since the establishment of the West Africa Internet Governance Forum in 2010 in Dakar. The theme for this year's event resonates well with the realities of what the globe has been facing since the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic. Gambia, like most parts of the world, is battling with the pandemic. As such, it has devised strategies to get its citizens vaccinated. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, despite the hardship brought by COVID-19, one constant denominator during this pandemic is the critical role of the Internet in enhancing the socio-economic development and well-being of our people, as the Internet has been the key tool for continued education, business transactions, and meetings, to name a few. Moreover, I've been reliably informed that the areas for discussion as part of the theme for this year includes quality access, bridging the digital divide, and structures in place to strengthen the digital economy. These topics to be discussed during the presentations and panel discussions are not only timely, but highly relevant in the sense that they will provide the opportunity for the country to devise mechanisms or strategies to help achieve our digital agenda. Hence, the importance of this forum cannot be overemphasized. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as part of the broadband policy under the ICT Master Plan for the Gambia, ICT is reorganized under the Critical Enabler 5 for the achievement of our National Development Plan NDP 2018-2021, and the broadband is recognized as a key facilitator for the growth and advancement of the entire ICT sector, especially in the creation of information society that breeds, revitalize, and transform modern economy. The broadband policy is to enhance and improve the following: contribution to government revenue, employment in the ICT sector, access and usage of ICT infrastructure, the Gambia's ICT Development Index, ICT skills development, application of ICT services in business and general services delivery, job creation, research and development, national ICT capacity and industry workforce, the country's information security systems, and legal and regulatory framework for certitude and responsiveness. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is evident that ICT in general and broadband in particular contributes substantially to growth of the national development processes, especially the GDP, and towards poverty eradication by improving access with equity. A study conducted by the World Bank reveals that a 10% increase in broadband penetration accounts for 1.38 percentage increase in the per capita GDP growth in developing economies. Aware of the importance of ICTs in economic development in our country, the government of the Gambia has in the past decade led the institutionalization and establishment of landmark and game-changing projects in the Gambia ICT sector as enshrined in Critical Enabler 5 of our National Development Plan, the NDP, which seeks to transform the Gambia into a digital nation and create a modern information society. Additionally, the National Information and Communications Infrastructure NICI policy, adopted in 2005, and the ICT for Development Policy 2018 to 2028, set the tone for ICT sector policy evolution in the Gambia. It provided strategic direction for the attainment of the ICT development vision of the government. The NICI policy was anchored on building and sustaining partnership with the private sector and donors, providing an effective information and communication infrastructure, enabling countrywide connectivity, and achieving a liberalized and competitive ICT market that offers consumer choice and affordable cost with guaranteed quality of service. It also prioritized critical socio-economic issues like the proliferation of ICT-driven socio-economic solutions in education and, most importantly, in public health delivery. At the same time, the government of the Gambia has identified the landing of a second submarine cable as a priority. Furthermore, plans are in place to include the Gambia in the America Cabral submarine cable project of ECOWAS, while other avenues are being explored as well. It is important to note, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, that in order to bridge the digital divide, it is pertinent for the country to look into internet resilience and affordability for our citizens, as COVID-19 pandemic has definitely portrayed to all of us that being online is no longer a luxury, but a necessity for all citizens, irrespective of where you live and your societal status. In this regard, I wish to seize this opportunity to encourage all participants in this forum, including the panelists that are online as well as present here physically, to critically look at the issues at hand in order to provide tangible options that the government of the Gambia and all relevant stakeholders can take to bring down the cost of internet and also make accessibility more possible for our rural dwellers. As a multi-stakeholder gathering, our key word and focus should be building a resilient internet infrastructure that reaches all. On a similar note, it is also critical to note that security is also a key issue to deliberate on. How do we protect our infrastructure? How do we secure our networks properly within the global trend of developments and within the wider concept of ICT today? How does it affect what we do as policymakers? These questions are very relevant to us and pertinent to internet governance and the digital transformation agenda, and in our quest to meet Sustainable Development Goals 9 SDGs on industry, innovation, and infrastructure. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, 2 days might look short to discuss all the themes and the sub-themes, but we are lucky to have great speakers within the field of internet that are taking part in this forum as presenters or panelists. Thus, we look forward to seeing the participation of key stakeholders in the subsequent African IGF later this year, and at the 16th annual Global IGF to be hosted by the government of Poland from 6th to the 10th December 2021 under the overarching theme, Internet United. Therefore, I personally look forward to reading the communique from the 7th edition of this important forum, and also wish all the participants a great learning experience in sharing and engaging. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, please allow me to reiterate our sincerest commendation to the National Internet Governance Forum Committee for successfully organizing and hosting the 7th annual IGF. This session is not only timely, but act as it seeks to provide the platform where the internet ecosystem in the Gambia will not only discuss and share experiences on the theme and sub-themes, but also possibly discuss digital measures to put in place to fight the COVID-19 pandemic. Therefore, please allow me to seize this opportunity to express, on behalf of my ministry and the government of the Gambia, by extension, to renew to you our commitment of support and collaboration in advancing the digital issues in the Gambia. I thank you all for your kind attention.